Well, hello, my friends. It's a couple of days before Halloween. I was checking up on Halloween in the literature and found out that having a full moon on Halloween has not happened since 1944. That's even longer ago than my husband has been alive, and we know how old he is. Anyway, it's been a long time, and I've been feeling the excitement of this full moon on Halloween. And it's important to give you a couple days with this video ahead of the full moon, just to get yourself set into motion in terms of what you're bringing forward for this time. Just a reminder, we are still in the 11th moon cycle up here. So obviously it's the autumn part of the medicine wheel. We're still in this autumn, obviously. And it's still the grandmother walks tall woman. So a grandmother who brings us the sense of walking in our truth and walking with integrity. Now, for me, somebody who, works professionally in parapsychology and has been a spiritualist minister. My candle just went out as I'm talking about this. Um, this. I spend my whole life training for these times because you've probably heard the expression, which comes from spiritualism, that the veil is very thin, and what that means is the atmospheric, energetic barrier between our dimension, our physical realm, the tonal, and the spirit dimension is very thin. And that means that we can get energies across. And from a physics perspective, it's these warm, sunny days that we have in the autumn and the cool, clear, crisp autumn nights. These allow for spirit to be able to connect with us, and we need to remember that it's just as hard for spirit to connect with us as it is for us to connect with them. They function at a very different vibrational level. And within all the categories of spirit beings that there are, each of these categories possesses a different vibrational level, to the point that sometimes certain categories of spirits just are not able to be aware of others. And I liken doing readings to being a switchboard operator on the old-fashioned switchboards where you had a headset and you had to plug your headset when you saw the lights come on. All these lights are coming on, and you have to sense and know who to connect with, what is an important call. And that's our relationship with spirit. But this is such a juicy time, and I've been waiting for the opportunity this week to get this message prepared for you for this time. And I thought, just for fun, not that this isn't, a serious reading, I would pull out my Shadowland Tarot, because the creatures that Monica Badursky drew for this tarot are all about this season of ghouls and goblins and monsters. I'm also using her Shadowland House of Shadows Lenormand today. I'm using the Gillian Wilde Antiquities of Magical Oracle deck, which is a companion deck to the Naked Tarot. And I'm also using the Oracle of the Seven Energies. And I pulled a couple of cards from an ancestor from the Naked Heart Tarot. So there's a lot of different decks represented today for this really fantastic Halloween full moon. So the energies give us the opportunity, if I can make an analogy, and it's an analogy I use in classes, so my students will be aware of this one. If you're on a wave, you're going to surf off the coast of Australia, for example, and you know that there's great white sharks out there in the water, but you want to ride that energy and you want to have a fantastic day of surfing. Well, there's a couple of things can happen. If you know what you're doing and you're focused and you've got a plan, you can be that great surfer and you can ride the crest of the wave and make yourself safely to shore. But if you don't have a plan and you're hungover and your technique is sloppy because you're not directed and focused, you're going to be that poor soul who falls off their board and the great white shark comes up underneath and you know, has you for a snack. We have the option to take control of how the energies of this full moon impact us. And we want to do as this grandmother says and walk with integrity and walk our talk, which is another way of saying it, and to let go those things that no longer serve us, because a big part of the message of this full moon is creating, manifesting the world we want to have when we come out of this pandemic and life normalizes. The new normal will not be what it used to be. It isn't what we can ever expect to be. And we don't want to go backwards. We're not looking backwards, we're looking forwards. And I add to that in my assessment of the moon cycles between now and the end of this calendar year, that we have this micro full blue moon, so it's a full moon in apogee, meaning it's away from the earth, the farthest it could be. We have a super new moon on November 15th, so this reading covers from this period of October 31st to November 15th. So we have another great celestial event. Then we have a penumbral lunar eclipse on the night of November 29th, 30th, and that's another full moon. And finally we have another super new moon in perigee and a total solar eclipse December 14th. If that isn't a huge set of opportunities, if you've got your technique lined up and you don't want to fall off your surfboard, this is a fantastic set of cycles every two weeks with the new and full moon. So I've pulled the cards, and it's a lot of fun. It's really a lot of fun. So the first card I pulled for this time here is the Knight of Wands. Wands is a fire sign. It's about creativity and the fire in the belly. But part of the preparation for this full moon is recognizing that we can't go off half-cocked and with imprecise rituals. This weekend is a weekend of rituals. It's Samhain, All Hallows Eve, All Saints Day on Sunday, All Souls Day. So we have lots of opportunities to connect with Spirit, but we don't want to be talking to Spirit about things, ideas, energies. We don't want to consume our energies and manifestations in our rituals with ideas that are not well thought through. So this is about thinking through. So that's the anchor card for this reading. It's in the protection position, just to remind us to whoa back and really think about what we're asking for from the grandmother and from our ancestors who can hear us so easily through this thin veil. We want to be really careful what we're choosing to manifest. And whatever rituals, whatever kinds and types of ceremony you do this weekend need to reflect that. So that's our first card. The second card is the Empress. The Empress is a creature of creation. She's about home, nurturing self, and self-care. But she's also in the protection position. And the protection position is very much telling us to just, again, be careful what we're incubating, be careful what we're bringing into the family in terms of our thoughts and ideals. So she supports very much this energy, and that the Empress is a major arcana card. The next card was the Nine of Wands. And again, it's a completion cycle, and it's in the protection position. So we're manifesting the ends of actions. Actions are coming to an end. Things that may not have worked very well for us up to now. And that includes perspectives we bring, historical perspectives. And as I pulled the cards and I asked my grandmother, Rose Koffel, for a card for today, and I ended up with 2 cards, a lot of the rest of the reading reflects these ideals that we need to let go of that which no longer serves us. So a ritual that could be performed this weekend on Halloween is to write out those things about yourself that no longer serve you, the things that you forgive yourself for that no longer serve you, and the things from the past that leave you in what we call the ghost lands. You're feeding ghosts with energy from the past over and over and over again instead of looking forward. So allow your rituals to reflect that. And finally, the last card in the cycle is the King of Cups. And this is a dude with a carpet bag, and it looks like he's come off a ship that might be sinking. And he's got a giant shell on his head, but he's also in protection. So of course, cups is water, water is emotions. This is making sure you yourself or someone you are connecting with, and this implies a male energy, if we want to be binary about it, some aspect of self, or again, or someone else, whose energies might be a little off the wall. The guy that's going to fall off the surfboard into the mouth of the great white shark. You got to be careful about who you're hanging with this weekend, and perhaps it is the best to allow yourself some solitary time for your rituals. So this is planning, thinking about all these fabulous new moons, full moons, and eclipses for the rest of this year, but also what is the world that you want to see come out of this pandemic time. We know that we can get into excess mode when it's nearing the Christmas and solstice holidays. We don't want to be that frantic situation comedy mom who's harried and freaked out. We're limited in the number of people we can celebrate with the upcoming holiday season. So this is an opportune time to remodel how we come into the grace of the longest dark. Think about that. So I pulled some more cards from the magic deck, And the magic deck gave us wreath, leaf, and dog. And what I noted is it's almost the same order of cards as the Lenormand cards. So wreath is about amazing manifestation and wonderful things coming to you. Wreaths are celebratory. It's expansive. It's time for wonder. So we have the reassurance from Spirit. This is a time of wonder. Recognizing that leaf represents cycles of beginnings and endings. Endings, beginnings. So notice that the ebb and flow of things, that can be just the amount of energy we have in a given day. We have to be prepared that these things happen. But the final card in that little trio is dog. Spirit is our faithful companion. In the creation stories I learned from my indigenous elders, dog was the last being that the Creator developed in order to walk with humans, two-leggeds, out of all the plants and animals that had been created before, to show undying support and protection. We have to remember in this time that we are not alone, that as dire as circumstances may feel and as sad as we are, you know, it's annoying to go to the bank and the grocery store because of lineups and new policies and all of that kind of stuff. We have to know that we have supports in the Creator. We have that spirit companion. So in the Lenormand, I got 3 more cards. I got Scythe, which is a death or an ending, the abrupt cutting off of something. And this little dude looks very clearly like the Grim Reaper almost. It's not death of us as people. It could be, but that's not what this is about. I asked for situational things. So Spirit is saying there's an end in sight to the issues that we've been struggling with. What comes of it is clover, which is prosperity and financial gain, and good luck. Clover is good luck. And finally, just like dog in this deck, the magic deck, we get bear. Bear is a great protector and a friend, and somebody who also represents in this context spirit. I asked for the sacred centers that we need to connect with, and close encounters. This refers to the sacral chakra center and making sure that we can be open and vulnerable and sharing, not feeling shame to be vulnerable, but being vulnerable and open to the right people on this full moon weekend, and knowing that that's an important connection. We are not alone, and separation is nonsense. There is no such thing as us and them. It's only we. So being open, honest, and vulnerable. The concept of smoke and mirrors comes up. And smoke and mirrors relates to third eye, and we need to be conscious of not allowing old ways of thinking to sabotage these new paradigms, this co-creative opportunity we have with the Creator and these times to come. So not letting old ways of thinking, old patterns of belief about yourself sabotage that which is coming. The smoke and mirrors aren't external to you, they're very much intrinsic to you. And finally, being comfortable with the land between. We don't always know where we're going when the boat sets out, but we're not adrift. We need to be comfortable with the fact that this is still a time of transition. We're not at the end of the energies we're strong enough to face. And that's something I think that I need to express. Karmically, as a community of people, we have hit the age, whether it's the age of Aquarius or what you want to call it, but the enlightenment, the collective enlightenment, is allowing us to deal with some pretty serious things. And if we didn't have the strength to deal with them, we wouldn't have all incarnated at a time when we had the strength to deal with these issues. So we have this co-creative effort to make life anew. And it's every thought. We think 10,000 or more thoughts in a day. Every little choice, every little thought and belief we have. So this is about letting go of old beliefs so that we can take this journey. This is about a journey, a spiritual journey, third eye. And we are going to have it's a card between the third eye and the crown chakra. So this is about spiritual creation and resonating at higher levels. We need to be open to what Spirit brings us this weekend. So I think I've shared with you everything that I can share except the two cards that I asked my grandmother Rose Koffel to pull. And the first card was the Devil card in reverse. And that's a heart disconnect card. It's asking you to ask yourself, is there a possibility that fear is guiding my journey? Is it possible to forgive myself for making mistakes and honor that each mistake helps me learn, grow, and realign my inner strength and personal power? So that's all that this means. You don't need to be afraid of these cards like as if they mean something dire. It's just about allowing us to grow. And the other card that I asked for and received was the Movement of Swords in reverse. The Movement of Swords is the same as the Page or the First Court card representing air. Spirit is asking us not to think about the future in a dire way. We need to be co-creative in a positive way, not to catastrophize or awfulize what might be, but rather to say, we've got this. So you have movement, but it's what we create. We manifest, we create what we think. Everything that ever existed in the beginning was a thought. So we are responsible for our thoughts and not to let old conditioning and old beliefs sabotage what we are creating. That's a lot of information. I hope you enjoy this weekend, and please do take the time to do some rituals, because we have all these glorious new moons and full moons in the next 2 months. So miigwech, Yawen, thank you, and take gentle care, but have fun.